Today I'm joined by Christian and Nicholas, founder and co-founder of Leaf360. We're really excited to announce this product and share with people watching. So thank you both for being on this call and sharing a little bit more about your product.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you for having us.
Super excited to be here and obviously share this product with you guys and just go over whatever questions you have. So, we're ready.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, so to start, can you give us a little bit of background of your experience? Were you in real estate? Were you in or still in the lending space? Just share a little bit about yourself.
So I grew up in a real estate family. I was 22 years old. And, it's always been my goal to really simplify the process. And about 6 years ago, I was just really frustrated noticing that our office had to use 6, 7 different systems to build all these automations. And noticing that a lot of my friends in the industry were doing the same thing. And there was not a software out there that could unify it. And I've always been a little bit, I would say, on the left because most people were using different CRMs and we wanted to keep Follow Up Boss. So when the opportunity came to build out this application, our backend system, me, Thabo, and Nick here just focused on building out a simplified system for one office, which was ours. And up until a few months ago, we decided, because of the demand, to form Leaf360, and that's where our focus is, to really simplify the process for lenders and real estate agents to work together. So whether or not they're on the same follow-up boss or on separate follow-up bosses, we've unified the communication so that, everybody can work better.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And what about you, Nicholas?
So I've been in the industry for about 4 years now. And when I first joined, my dad was super set on me using Follow Boss. And I didn't understand why CRM was so important just because I didn't have the 22 plus years of experience like he did. And I was like, I'm not that organized, but I think I can get by. And lo and behold, I realized I could not get by without a good CRM. And one of the biggest things that he taught me, went very fresh into my career as a loan officer, was that you need to manage the relationship with the agent because that is where most of the transactions are going to come from. And if you can't take care of your agent, they're going to go somewhere else. So I understood very early on, I had to do everything in my power to be able to take care of the agent. And it was a lot of manual phone calls and a lot of manual updates and just a lot of manual work, right? But that's what it took to get the job done. And I think him especially, he saw the need for being able to make loan officers and agents' lives a lot easier by being able to automate a lot of those systems and processes. And it's been a huge game changer for us. And we're just super excited to, kind of share that with everybody else.
Yeah, so you mentioned game changer. Can you briefly describe what Leaf 360 is and what its primary functions are?
So I'd like to call it like a middleware because we have a full operating system on the back end, but my main focus was to keep my favorite systems open. So we integrate within FUB and we also integrate within the mortgage operating systems. Right now, it's a very fast integration for Arrive. We have a quick setup for that. And all the stage updates, all the automated emails that come from Arrive get posted into Leaf360, and Leaf360 therefore translates that inside Follow Up Boss. The visual embedded app is what really makes this a game changer because not only do you get your automated updates, which happened before, but now whatever the processors on the back end are doing in their mortgage system, it's helping the loan officer by automating that. And if the processors are using Follow Up Boss, they can communicate and give manual updates and personal updates in the file without having to step out to update the other parties.
Yeah. And I think most importantly, they don't actually have to be a user in the agent's CRM.
Exactly. So it keeps the privacy on both ends pretty separate. The agents only share what they want, and the mortgage companies get to stay very compliant by not sharing personal data on the other side.
Yeah, I know that's a big concern, which we'll certainly get to later as well, like privacy and security. I think it'd be helpful if we shared your screen for a second and showed people. I think what helped me a lot on our last call was understanding what it looks like for a real estate agent to send a lead to a lender and how fast that is with Leaf360.
Definitely. Yeah. So let me pull it up right here for you. 1 second. Okay. Got it ready to go and share. Okay. Can you see the screen right here?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Is that blocking or
No, you can see everything, right, Elena?
Yep, I can see everything.
on the right side?
Perfect. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll move the video. Okay, so awesome. I'm really happy you asked that because sharing a referral is the first step of any process, right? When it comes to working together as a loan officer, realtor, real estate agent. And we actually have a demo file really quickly that we created here.
This is the real
So
estate.
yeah, so this is the real estate agent's CRM. Obviously Follow Boss, and this is Wonder Woman. So this is a brand new lead. Realtor met the client and they said, hey, I want to refer this over to my loan officer. This is typically what the process would look like. The realtor, the agent may have some notes in here. I don't know, single, family, home, 400K, something simple, right? And from there, they would go ahead and copy those notes. And they could actually go over to the Leaf360 embedded app inside of Follow Boss, and they can take those notes and they can paste it. From there, they can choose what type of loan purpose it is, whether it's a purchase, refinance, etc. Oftentimes, agents actually may refer deals outside of a purchase. It could be a refinance as well. So we wanted to make sure that we had all the different types of loan purposes in there. And not only that, but they can also pick and choose which loan officer that they're going to send it to. This can be a loan officer from the same company that they're working with or from a different company as well.
Correct.
Once they go ahead and click that send referral, it'll automatically refer it, and that will pop in to the, oh, it's already right there. It'll pop into the loan officer CRM. So this is the loan officer CRM that I have here, and this is the agent's CRM. And as you can see, it automatically populated into there. Once it automatically populates, they will get a tag showing the agent's name along with the agent's brokerage, and all that information from both sides is going to populate into there. Now, obviously, you're only seeing a loan officer here and you're only seeing an agent here. As the loan officer or the agent updates their team, if they add a TC, if they add a processor, if they add an assistant, that will also get populated into here, which we'll show you later in the call as well. So they can have access to all parties that are involved with that referral.
So how complicated is the process to not only sign up for Leaf360 and connect it to your, what was the name of the program? It's like you have options like Arrive or Encompass, their loan origination programs. Is that right? But then also, how complicated is it to connect it from the loan officer CRM to the real estate agent CRM?
Okay, so different questions. We're gonna answer, like we can go over the real estate agent's questions and then loan officers, two different setups.
Yeah. If you're gonna enable it as a real estate agent, it's very simple. All you have to do is go to admin, you click on the integrations, you scroll down and look for Leaf360, and then you click enable. Once you enable it, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna go to API, and all you need to do is create a new API key. What we usually advise our agents to do is just call it Leaf360. From there, they can create the API key and they can copy it. Once they copy it, that's it. They're pretty much almost done. Then they just have to go over to a brand new lead. They'll see the integration, the embedded app here. It'll usually be at the bottom. We usually advise them to scroll it up and bring it to the top. And instead of the option to send a message or send a referral, it'll say paste API key right here. All you then do is paste the API key and then it'll be fully running. And, just to show you, let's just say you have a new lead. I'll just show this really quickly. It will look like this after you paste the API key. So your clients are not being shared until you actually hit that send referral button. So even if you have the API access with the integration,
You have to invite your loan officer.
yeah, you still have to invite your loan officer and share the clients with them.
Right. So the sign up page is on leaf360.io. It's on the integrations link there on the bottom.
Yeah.
And it's the same site that Lowe's will sign up on. You click on that.
Okay.
And so this is the sign up form. This is for the mortgage company, but you'll just go straight to the page.
Yeah. So let me just go here.
So you go to agent sign up. And yeah. So once you sign up, you invite your loan officer, just put their email. They'll get a request to sign up. Once the loan officer signs up, and they sign into their back office, all they have to do is go into their settings and paste their API key on the mortgage application.
Yeah, super easy.
I'll let you open that up as
Yeah,
well.
that one.
You can go ahead and do that.
So
The Realtor dashboard.
Oh,
We'd
that's
have
the
to- we'd have to
Realtor
log in.
dashboard.
Yeah, we'd have to log into the brokerage side as well.
okay.
Let me log in for you.
So for agents, it's just connect your API, invite a loan officer. Once the loan officer connects their pipeline and embeds their API key from their mortgage operating system. Currently, Arrive is automatic. So once they do that, it's a quick setup for them. So you'd go over here into company settings, integrations, and you paste the Follow Boss API key. This is for their POS portal link, if they have a POS portal link they'd like to use. And you have the last step, which is the 3 keys that you get from Arrive. Anything outside of Arrive, we set up a call and customize that. The setup can take a couple hours or a day or so. Depends on how deep the integration is going to go with the different systems.
Yeah. And once again, this is the loan officer side. So it's very simple once they sign up to get this configured.
Yeah. So it's a few more steps for the LO, but once this is connected and the loan officer can now invite their team, and they can also create a contact over here. And once they add the contact, it's the company name for the real estate brokerage and their clients over here and the contact type. So if they're not invited and you just signed up, you have to add your realtors. If you've been invited, you're already connected with the realtor. So the minute you're connected, whatever leads that you've assigned to that agent will show up in their Follow Boss, in their pipeline, and they can also access it over here,
refresh it,
and send messages.
So can a loan officer be connected to multiple agents if they all use Follow Up?
There's no limit to the amount of agents you can connect to, and also for agents to connect to multiple loan officers as well.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
So what sorts of updates would a loan officer be able to share with a real estate agent using this widget?
Okay. Do you want to show the complete file? Or
Yeah, we can show you.
Yeah.
So we have a file from that's at clear to close stage that we've prepared.
Yeah. So we have a clear to close file. I obviously will show you how each individual update can go out, but just for the purpose of this question, obviously, let me show you the full capacity of it, kind of. So this is once again the Realtors CRM. You can notice right here that the profile picture, that's the Realtors. And first and foremost, you notice a new contact here, right? So you have Jonathan, who's the processor. So he was obviously added onto the transaction. If the agent wants to see where the status of their client is, all they simply have to do is click on status. And then from there, they can get access to all the loan details that are pulled in from the lender or the loan officer system that get populated essentially into the CRM. So here they can see the purchase price, subject property, the loan status, the loan product, the down payment, the credit score, the closing date, appraisal status, and the title status as well, along with all the dates associated with it.
With every stage, we drop a tag and a custom field. Depending on what the agent wants. This is a custom. I'll show you the custom fields that we built out. So depending on what the client would like, not only will we drop a tag for every stage, we're not going to drop 20 tags. So if the client went from pre-approved to approved, we'll delete the previous tag and add the current tag, and all the way to clear to close and funded. The loan product as well, we also drop that as a custom field. And when you're in lead status, when an agent sends a lead, they'd like to know where that lead is. If the loan operating system updates the file and we have a docs needed or a docs reviewed or the docs are ghosted for some reason or anything custom they'd like, we can post that in their custom fields. So now you can work on, creating more automations to follow up. The opportunity types can also be dropped into custom fields, and we can even drop it into the tags as needed.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things about the tags and custom fields is that we don't want to mess with people's current stages, which a lot of people use to run automations and smart lists.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure that it would be a very smooth transition to also allow them to run their own additional smart lists and automations without messing up what they already have.
For loan officers, if you're setting up a new FUB or you'd like to customize that and you want specific stages to be updated, we can also update that. We do that for mortgage loan officer side.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, from our last phone call, you also mentioned that whenever a lead is sent over to the loan officer, if the loan officer logs a call in Follow Up Boss, does that
Yes.
also show up in the agent's Follow Up Boss?
Yes. And we're pushing that live this week. We're in testing phase and it's going to show up in the activity log, so that loan officers and realtors, we all get caught up on calls, right? So if they forget the call was lasted a minute or more, it's up to the settings, but we were told a minute or more makes sense. It will log the call. And if a text or email was sent, it will tell you who sent the text or email. So if the loan officer has their team on there, the realtor will also be privy to that information to say, oh, it was the processor, it was the loan partner, it was the loan officer, you know.
Yeah, that's so cool.
We're not giving up private data, so it's only a logged call. It's not the conversation itself.
Not the conversation. What about notes? Do the notes also show in the log, or is that also part of like the privacy where it doesn't show the notes?
Yeah, so as far as the notes go for now with Follow Boss's current status, what the messages that get pushed through the activity portion in the Leaf360 embedded application, they actually get pushed into a note as well in both the loan officer and the agent CRM. So just to show you really quickly for this file, there was a lot of activity going on. And any comment from the agent or the loan officer or the processor will show up in here. The reason we did that is because we wanted to have a pretty much like non-erasable timeline of the communication that's going on throughout the transaction. Now, that communication will also get pushed in as a note as well. So we wanted to have it on both ends. Any status update that comes in from the system will also show up in the activity stage, and that will automatically go out to both the agent and the loan officer, anybody that's tied in with the client. The biggest point of this feature is that no longer does the agent have to wait for the loan officer to be available or to receive an email or to say, hey, what's going on with my client? The second that status update gets pushed from the loan officer system, it's automatically going out to all parties, you know? So right now we do have it where it gets pushed in as a note, but ideally, with Follow Boss's direct inbox,
when that's like,
yeah, that would be nice. So they can have it either or.
Yeah. How is the agent notified about these status updates? Like it's here in the widget, it's here in the notes, but do they receive any sort of notification as well?
Through Leaf360, they'll receive an email and they can also view their pipeline. But for Follow Boss users, you can just log into Follow Boss. And for agents who don't have a CRM or, you know, just want to go online, they can view exact status updates with our portal.
Yeah, with your dashboard. Backing up a little bit earlier, you showed like the custom fields where you show docs reviewed.
Yes.
Does that information get sent over to the real estate agent as well?
Yes. Yes.
How does that get pushed over to them?
So once Leaf360 has the okay from the agent, say I want you to drop in custom fields, we'll drop about 5 subsets of custom fields, and we'll also push tags if you want the tags. So you might have, we're not touching your stage, but we're going to give you the stage under a custom field. And then you'll have the sub statuses, right? Now you would call that. So sub status, it's an approved, but you know, we're still needing docs and so on. So that gets automatically updated from the mortgage operating system updates to Leaf360 and on to the Follow Boss users.
And talk about the fact that we can't delete the tags as well.
Yeah, so let's just say somebody mistakenly deletes one of the tags, Leaf360 will push it back.
Yeah, that's a nice feature as well.
A security feature, you know. So if you want to make sure you're staying on track with your active files and knowing where they are, Leaf360 will lock it in.
Yeah, that's nice. going back then to the widget of like the activity.
Mhm.
So the activity section is primarily for the loan officer and agent to communicate with each other. What about other parties? Can other parties communicate in there as well? Such
So
as like the title
when
company or
yeah, when a realtor signs up, they can invite a title company. So we have all sorts of titles that can be invited. It's an open system. Title companies use different systems. So if you invite them, they'll get a link, and the title company has the same dashboard where they can upload documents. What we're going to be building out in our future update is within the embedded app, you can add your title company and send them messages through there. They'll receive an email where they can reply back, and it'll come right back into your activity feed.
very good. And just to make sure everyone knows, whenever these updates come over to Follow Boss of the updates of the status of the loan, there's not anything in the loan officer has to do for that to happen, right? It just gets pulled from whatever program they're using into this app.
Correct.
Yeah, that's so cool. I wanted to go over some stats with you that were on your website. I was curious if you could expand on some of them. So on your website, it mentioned that Leaf360 is shown to, it can up to triple the volume, business volume for agents and loan officers. Can you explain like how's that possible and where you saw that?
Yeah, so I mean, we've been using Leaf360 with our own mortgage company for quite a while, which is obviously completely separate. And as my dad mentioned before, prior to putting this out as a product for everybody, we were initially using it for us, and we have the results and the metrics in our back end to prove for that. Obviously, we had so much success with it. And when we went to FOBCon, especially, we realized that there was so much demand from agents saying, well, can my loan officer use this, or can my mortgage company use this?
What we're solving is the speed of communication and speed to lead. That's one of the biggest problems we have. Currently right now, even if you have your LO inside the FUB, the loan officer still has other systems to work on. So one of the biggest complaints is that they have to have an assistant, and not everybody could do that. So if you're looking at smaller team or mid-sized teams, instead of hiring more people, let's just build more efficiency. On average, we hear from 67% to 87% referrals are given and handled by agents to loan officers. So we have to facilitate that for them. The faster you can capture a lead, faster you can update the client, the less work the agent has to do, because we know the agent's handling a ton of things. The loan officer is handling a ton of things on their end. So speeding this up, we figured it's way more than 3x. I honestly feel like it's way more than that. We have some clients right now in the beta, and we have seen so many messages flying through the system that, I think in a couple months, we're going to put out those numbers and see how that's going, because some officers are just like constantly on it, sending messages to each other. And one of the feedback that I got is the fact that they can just scroll down and see the activity, knowing, okay, this is what's going on with my lender. It's not bothering my current view. And this just facilitates and builds trust between both parties, keeping everybody accountable, especially the lending side. Which is one of the biggest complaints is communication.
To add on to what you were saying really quickly, one of the biggest things when a loan officer is working with a large real estate team is that they're required to provide weekly or quarterly updates. And that can take a lot of time if you don't especially have an assistant. It takes a lot of time to be able to gather all the information, regardless of how well organized your system is. So being able to have them log in and view it at any time eliminates that need as well. So it makes both lives a lot easier.
Agent pipeline that we built out?
Yeah, you want to put that.
So this is a sample agent pipeline. I mean, if you're working with a team or just one agent, after a couple of years, you're going to have hundreds of leads. So this is just a basic pipeline page so they can see the activities. And you guys, you could go over this with your loan officer or go over it with your realtor and say, hey, here's where we are, So outside of FUB, you do have a dashboard that we're going to continue to improve as we move forward.
Yeah, it's just nice to see a dashboard as well, so that the loan officer doesn't have to do this, and agent can just see what's all in my pipeline. Like, I don't want to look per person. I want to see the big picture to see what potential commissions are here with the client. So that's so cool you've built that.
Yeah.
Another stat, which I think you've already touched on a little bit already, that you mentioned on your website, is that it contributes to a 67% increase in lead to conversion speed. Can you share how that happens with Leaf360? Why is it such a big increase?
Yeah, so submitting a lead from the real estate agent to a loan officer and the loan officer properly using the system, they can set up action plans and smart lists and a whole bunch of, cool automations that I think you could do much better than we can, right? And it automatically pushes it through to their mortgage operating system. So this saves a lot of time. A lot of time, loan officers could be on a call for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Then 15 leads come through the system. So with the follow boss automations, I honestly feel like it's really going to speed up the process on both ends.
Yeah. And another thing to add on to that is that it eliminates the mixed communication. Oftentimes agents may send a referral by phone and have you write it down, or they may text it to you, or it may get lost in translation via email. We know how difficult it is to take care of a client properly when you never really know where they're always going to come from. And most agents and loan officers are working with so many different other parties that it can be very, very demanding to try to keep up with all that. So by us being able to put it all into one place where you know the consistency is there, it's going to allow you to pick up the phone, call the lead quicker, and obviously convert them a lot quicker as well.
Yeah, and I know here in Texas, it's common practice for an agent to send your information as the client to 2 or 3 different lenders. So this will save so much time of just being able to quickly share it with each lender without having to pick up the phone and call them, or accidentally have them do a typo, or they forget to put it in their CRM. Then you're asking, did you call them yet?
Right.
Like all of that gets logged in here, which is so cool to see. Another feature I wanted to touch on was something that you showed me on our last Zoom call, was you have like mortgage tools available that someone could potentially use on a consultation. So could you share what that looks like?
Yeah, definitely. So just to show you in the embedded app first and foremost, we just have a small calculator in here. And I'll run it through really quickly. So assuming the client is pre-approved for a certain amount and the agent is going to show them a property, let's say the agent is able to grab the property taxes, they know the purchase price, they know the down payment the client's putting, which in this situation would be 10%. And they're able to grab that information, they can actually fill this in and they get a cool little, let me scroll back up, sorry. Cool little mortgage calculator that breaks everything down. So this is one of the features I'll also show you on the back end, but they do have access to this. They can adjust the numbers if they'd like. And if they click calculate, it's going to automatically adjust this. The reason we felt that this very tiny feature could really help people a lot is because being in the business for so many years, it's almost every Thursday and Friday that agents are calling, and they maybe have 10 or 20 properties we've seen at times, and they're saying, hey, can you run the numbers, which is completely fine. But what often happens is agents that can't reach their loan officer and they want to run numbers and they're struggling to reach them, they end up sometimes going to show a property to a client that's out of their budget. And maybe it's a 45-minute drive, maybe it's an hour. We wanted to eliminate that stress that happens to the client as well when they're constantly looking for properties, not knowing if it's in their budget or not, and obviously help the agent out as well. So we added that cool little feature in there.
Yeah, that is really cool. I know that buying a home as the consumer is a really emotional experience. It's exciting. You see a really pretty house, but then, like you said, you don't want to waste the agent or the client's time where they're seeing a house that's over the budget, where they didn't really realize like this much extra in price of a home results in this amount in a mortgage rate. I know that happened to me personally a couple months ago. Like I took a big gasp of breath to realize, oh my goodness, I can't afford that. I just wasted an hour of my time looking at this house that I fell in love with, and it's so disappointing, and I couldn't even afford it in the first place. So this will be really helpful for the real estate agent and their clients.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the agents that use this, they're using it for home buyers consultations when they have the client pre-approved. So,
And the calculator is available without connecting your API or with the loan officer. So if you just enable the app and you don't share a lead or connect, you can access the calculator.
Yeah, that was so cool. What about I mentioned it earlier in the call and then also in the middle. How does Leaf360 ensure that everything remains private and compliant between the communications?
So Leaf360 as a financial app is on its own separate server, and it's a separate company in itself. We don't have any webhooks that just pull your leads. We only pull the data and share the data that the real estate agent decides to share. So until you click send, it does not get sent over to the other side. And based on our privacy policies in terms of use, we don't share any data.
Yeah.
Or sell the data. Yeah. And we're
What
private.
about, sorry, say it again.
And we're privately owned.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, that's good. What about upcoming features you're working on? You mentioned a couple, but do you mind expanding a little bit more on what you're working on?
You're brought up.
Yeah, on the loan status.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to include the home inspection date, so the realtor can put that date in there. And we're going to also include the approval date. That's going to be on our next update, the next 10 days. And the soon to be added features are the document upload in there. So let's say you have not just a lead, but you receive the contract. If you're not using any of the outside systems and you're inside Follow Boss, you can submit the contract to your loan team within the app. If you get an inspection report, you can upload that. Currently, everything can be done right now on the back end, but to keep it simple, we're going to have that inside the embedded app. So you can upload documents to the lending side as needed, addendums, contracts, home inspection reports.
Yeah. Ultimately, just keep everybody inside of Follow Boss.
Yeah, for sure. What about, this might be outside of your wheelhouse, but what about like the appraisal date once the appraisal is scheduled to go, appraiser is scheduled to go out?
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah. So as far as these statuses, you're not just going to see complete and not complete. You'll see the pending statuses. So appraisal paid for, appraisal on hold, appraisal scheduled, appraisal completed as well. And the date will update every single time a new status is put out there.
And it's automatic from the loan operating system.
Yeah.
Arrive, if they put it in Arrive, it's automatic.
Yeah.
Lending Pad and Compass, they all have open systems. If they're using those systems, processor does that, usually for loan officers. The loan officer doesn't have to do double entry. So we kind of hope that the minute it's ordered, that it's done properly in their system, the agent will automatically be updated as well.
Yeah. And the biggest thing with that feature is security, right? And concern for the client, because if the loan officer and the agent are not on the same page with the contingency dates as far as the loan approval period and the closing date and the inspection date, the client's escrow can become at risk. So we didn't want to make it something where you could just go in and adjust it inside of Follow Boss. It's obviously the lender's job to make sure that this information is properly put in. Assuming the closing date is extended or pushed back, that should be updated as well in the lender system, and it'll automatically push to the integration. So everybody's very clear as to when the job needs to get done.
A double verification. The agents know their dates, and they also know the lender has the right dates.
Yeah, I know that's a common problem that agents have is they'll have an assistant manually input different dates in custom fields and they'll get it wrong, or it gets updated, it doesn't get updated in the custom field. So an idea for y'all, if you don't already have this as an idea, is pushing these dates into custom fields and they're just read-onlys so that it can't be edited by the agent. Because I know some agents will want to use automation around it. Like
we could do that.
That's
2
awesome.
days before close date, do this or things like that. So that would be, I'm sure people will find that helpful.
You'd like to see it in the custom field. So okay, so yeah, we could do that. Could put appraisal status custom field with the date when it's due.
Yeah, I think like the biggest one would be close date, because that can be ever changing.
Yeah, and you can start setting out like automated like gifts and whatnot. That'd be a really cool feature to have that for the agent.
Yeah. On the topic of like document uploads, what about pre-approval letters? Like, let's say a lot of this happened with me a lot was, it was like we saw a home, we didn't want to like say I'm pre-approved for 600,000 even though the house was 580, so we wanted an updated pre-approval letter that just said 580. So can that be updated there? Like, how would that sort of use case work?
So right now, Arrive has a POS that the loan officer can do this with, and most of the systems have that POS. We are planning on building that inside the Leaf360, but we really wanted to have all the other components done, which is what was missing in the market. And as we've seen that we're fulfilling this, more people are asking for a POS. So yeah, the POS is coming. What you're asking for is a co-branded portal that can be controlled and leveraged by the loan officer and the realtor. So the loan officer will have parameters set to be, this is the maximum you can be approved for the requested budget. And now the realtor has a number that they can play up and down and then issue that. It's just, it's available. It's a separate system, but we will unify it pretty soon.
So then that means like eventually once you roll that out, the agent doesn't have to bug the lender just to change the number. As long as it's within that range, the agent can just say, I wanted to say this number.
Yeah, inside FUB. We've had so many requests for it that I know we're gonna have to do this.
You're not the first to ask, and you won't be the last. So we're really excited to have that feature come out for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. That's really exciting. I know for me on like the consumer side, we would have to wait 5 hours sometimes because the loan officer's busy. They're doing consults, they're doing phone calls. They don't have the time to create a quick updated pre-approval letter. So is there anything else you wanted to share on this call that we didn't get to?
Well, another thing, you just discussed what helps you convert quicker. If the loan officer uses Follow Boss with our embedded app and has their team on it as well, they don't have to be the only one responding to these tickets. You know, so these messages are kind of like tickets over to the mortgage side. So processors can jump in, they can reply. But aside from that, I mean, we really appreciate your time, and you know, would love to answer any more questions. If anybody has, you can reach out to us or let us know.
Yeah. So if someone wanted to learn more about Leaf360 or ask you questions, what's the best way they can do that?
So we have two ways. They can either join our webinar. We have a daily webinar every day at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. I guess we'll provide you the link somehow to share that. And we also have a one-on-one Zoom call, you know, just for anybody that has a custom setup or they, you know, want a little bit more detailed time, any specific questions, we have that as well. They can book it anytime as well. So we have two sorts of calls set up, and whatever they want to come on, they can come meet the team, and then we'll go over all this with them and really help them set up.
Yeah, I know this is a big need in the community, so I'm really excited that someone's taking the time to build this, and it's proven because you used it for yourself first. You're a personal user. So thank you for taking the time to share more about your product, and I'm excited to see how you continue to build and grow this product.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
I think one of the biggest things is that we're looking for as much feedback as possible right now, especially with the feature that you just mentioned. It seems simple, but this is what we're looking for, right? We want to be able to cater to as many people as we can within Follow Boss and find out about all these little features that they want that we know we can implement just to make this a really full, complete package. So you know, we want feedback.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you want feedback and that you're willing to consider all feedback and implement it if it makes sense for most people quickly, rather than having like a year turnaround time for something.
No.
Really cool. Awesome. Well, thank you both for taking the time, and I'm sure we'll do another one after you build something else. So it's really exciting to see.
Thank you for having us.